everybody, and welcome back to the Rant When where we rant about random things. So today I'm doing something a little bit different than videos in the past, and that's that I'm not going to script this video. I don't usually script most of my other videos, but I do have a few main points that I'm going to touch on throughout other videos. This one I'm just gonna go. And so this is gonna be a review of the Wings of Fire Darkstalker graphic novel, Legends Darkstalker. And so I'm just gonna slap the cover up on screen right now. And throughout this video, I'm just gonna flip through the entire book, every single page, and I'm not gonna edit out any of the content. So, this video will just be as long as it will be. So, I'm going to start from the front cover and go all the way through it till the back cover. You can think of it sort of as like a little podcast. I'm going to just be doing that kind of style video, and I hope you guys enjoy. Tell me if you would want me to do this with other graphic novels or other books in the series, or Warrior Cats graphic novels or anything. So hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so starting with the cover, I do really like Jake Parker's style. I like the way he drew Darkstalker, and the sharp horns, and the way his horns are kind of divided into sections, I guess, and every section looks a little bit different, and I really like that. And also the shading on the cover was very nice. I'm not entirely sure what Darkstalker is sitting on, if that's a specific location in the book, or if that's just some kind of rock. But in the cover, it has the classical, red background with Darkstalker on it, and it also has the 3 moons of Pyria. And so on the first moon, the largest moon, I really like this little detail where there's a dragon's head just drawn on there. So if you have a copy of this book, you might want to go and look at that, because it's really cool and interesting little detail that he added on there. And I really like that. I'm not entirely sure what the background is supposed to mean. I think it was just that the background of the original book was red, but you can see kind of little embers and sparks going up in the background, so it might be a fire, but it might just be a red background. Alright, so then we have the acknowledgements page. Then we have the map. This map is just the normal map, I believe. There's nothing changed in here. Actually, I think the Night Kingdom is drawn on there, not the old Night Kingdom. It's just called the Night Kingdom because we're in the old days of Pyria. We also have Queen Lagoon's palace rather than Queen Coral's palace, things like that. Cool little details. Then let's start the first chapter, the prologue. I really like his design of Arctic too, but Arctic looks a little bit older than I would like him to. But the spines on Arctic's back are also very cool. I like the way that they kind of bunch at the top and then divide themselves back into 2 lines as they go down his back. On the front of his snout, his nose, he has a little scale pattern that I liked. But yeah, he does look a little bit older than I had imagined, and I don't know, that's not really a bad thing. I just thought it was interesting. There are also little polar bear rug things in the background, which I like, and you can see Arctic going and stepping on them throughout the entire scene. I also like the use of scrolls in the book rather than how Mike Holmes draws most of his art. There's more scrolls here, and it has a more dragony look than some of Mike Holmes' art, which I like. I do like that. Moving on to the second page, I'm just realizing now how long this book is. We're going to be sitting here for quite a while, guys. But again, more of the same. They showcased Arctic's earring here though, which I also like. It wasn't how I imagined it. I had always imagined Arctic earring as like a diamond, I guess, but it's not, and that's fine. That's completely fine. I understand that's how he imagined it, and that's fine. But I had always imagined it as a diamond. Um, Again for I don't remember Snowflake for Snowflake's art. I like the way he drew her, but she's two things. Again, she looks a lot older than how I had imagined her, but also she looks like very thin, like she hadn't been like fed well enough. And I don't know. I think they could have made her design a little bit like thicker, but honestly, that's fine with me. Um, then Arctic is seen like saying that he only had 3 weeks left to decide. Then Snowfall says, well, the queen did mention that. Arctic says sigh, but she didn't care very well. And that's how the conversation goes, kind of, in the books. Because if you look at the next panel, it says, why can't I remember who that is? She's very familiar, but dot dot dot. And then he speaks out loud. He remembers Snowflake. Then Snowflake goes, yes. But I had always imagined this scene in Arctic's room, not outside in the hallways. But again, that's fine. We see, I think the sun is setting in this scene, but it might be rising. No, it's setting. Yeah, it's setting because then later Clear Sight's like, I want to go see the sun. Yeah. Okay, so the sun is setting, and then Arctic is like thinking about all the rules and how like Snowflake is so dull and stuff. And yeah, that's basically what happens in the normal book. Then they are flying through the sky, and this is one of my favorite scenes in the entire book. It's very pretty. I might have to make this into like 5 separate parts, guys. I don't know. Maybe I can do it like by chapter or something, but I don't know. Okay, so then they fly to that igloo, and we meet Slayer for the first time. Slayer's design, I'm a huge fan, honestly. The way the star speckled scale things are portrayed, very nice, very pretty. And also when Arctic is describing that she had like green underscales, not just like black scales, or like dark gray scales or whatever he says. She is I what am I even saying? But she she does have like green scales. Like in the original book, I had imagined her as not necessarily actually having green scales, but just that he was seeing things in her that weren't actually there. But no, she does actually have green scales. Uh Also something I'd like to point out that she already has earrings in her ears, so I'm not entirely sure where she put Arctic's earring, or did he just enchant her own ear? I don't know. But um then S- Snowflake is like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Go inside. I bet my mom wants you." Then there's the iconic scene where she's like, "Well, who stuck an icicle up her snout?" And then he's like, "I'm afraid that was me." And then when it shows Clearsight laughing, it's one of the most hilarious positions in the entire book because like her neck looks like it's broken. I don't know, like her neck bended in like 3 separate positions, and I feel like her neck should be broken, but I don't know. Maybe that's how dragon necks work. Who am I to question dragon anatomy? Anyways, so for once, not Clearsight, Slayer looks incredibly young compared to like everyone else in the book so far. Incredibly young. I really like the way that he drew her horns, as they're like smooth and they're going right up, whereas other male Nightwings in the books, he drew the horns as kind of like sharper and more pointy, I guess. They curve upwards, like male dragon horns curve upwards and go upwards, whereas female Nightwing horns go curve downward and then up. Okay. Then the sunset's happening, and I do like the way that it's starting to fade. It goes from from pink to being like purpley and then to blue, which I really like. Also, Arctic just pulled that earring out of nowhere, like the one he gave to Fosslayer. It just came out of nowhere. He is shown unclipping it out of his left ear, or right ear, or one of them. His left ear, yes. Except that he had already had an ear. He hadn't had an earring in his left ear earlier, but now he does. It's okay. Then the night sky is very pretty, and something I like when Clearsight, oh my god, when Fosslayer puts the earring on, she like glows orange for a second just to signify that it made her warm. Okay, let's move on to the next chapter. That took way longer than I thought it would. I'm sorry for anyone who has something to do right now, but this video is going to be a long one. Okay, so Prince Fathom of the Sea Wings. Again, the same use of like scrolls, which I like. I don't know why. Maybe it's just that the male dragons look so much older, but why does he look like he's just about ready to use a little cane and have creaky bones? Do dragons have creaky bones? I don't know. Maybe he's a sea wing. Maybe he doesn't get creaky bones. But he looks really old in the first time we see him. I don't know why. But then Indigo is like, yeah, I dare you to go grab that seagull and eat it. But also Indigo is like a lot bigger than Fathom. Why is that drawn like that? Also, her necklace, it's purple, but it has like a little seashell in the center, and that's not how I imagined it, because Fathom was like, her only accessory was a piece of like kelp or something that he had braided for her the other day, and I was like, well, it must look kind of like messy then, but I guess Fathom just has a way to just make things look nice. So I want that necklace. Anyways, so then Indigo starts messing with him, and Fathom's like, be quiet, what are you doing? Then I actually am a huge fan of the color scheme of Pearl. Like, I hadn't imagined her this way. She had always been kind of like pink blue in my head, but now she's completely blue, and I absolutely love it. I adore this design for her. And she really does seem to be like, she gives off the same vibe as she did in the other book, which I really enjoy. Then then Lagoon and Albatross come in, and I think this is also a really funny scene because the Albatross in the original book is said to be larger than Lagoon, about by a head's length, it said. He is like 4 times bigger than she is. They're siblings. I don't know. I don't understand how that could possibly have happened. Either he is ginormous or she is really tiny, because in the first time we see him, he is so much bigger than Lagoon. It's crazy. And I thought it was really funny. But yeah, then we see, also, yeah, compared to the Dragonettes, I would like, if I was that big and he was that big, I would think this guy must have just fallen from the sky and got misplaced on our island, because I didn't know dragons could go that big. Yeah, so then the coconut test. Oh, and then there's a scene here which I really like on page 13 at the very bottom. It says Whoomp in the big letters, and on those letters within them is the picture rather than like outside of them, or the letters being on top of the picture. Within those letters there is the picture of the thing, which leads to some really cool art and some kind of choppy art because there are like random places where the art just cut off. But I really liked this, honestly, and I thoroughly enjoyed looking at that for a while. I also liked the way that it showed how hurt Albatross was. Like, I can practically hear the strain in his voice when he was like, "Who did that?" Like, I don't know, Albatross. Who did do that? Are you offended? I bet you are. Then, on page 14 at the bottom is Albatross's head, or like upper body, and on top of a red background, which was obviously just to signify that he was having like an evil moment. But I looked way too deep into it and was like, yeah, I bet that's because like the background of the original novel was red and Darkstalker was evil and stuff like that. But I was like, no, I looked way too deep into that one. It's just a red background, but I do like it. Again, Albatross's talon, when he puts it on the back of Fathom, it's the size of his like face. It's the size of Fathom's face. How did he get his talons that big? I think Albatross needs help. Yeah. Also, when the seagull dies, it's quite unfortunate. I was very sad. I liked that seagull. Okay, guys, this video is already way too long. I was gonna do the entire book in one go, but I'm only on like second chapter, and this video is already way too long. So what I'm gonna do instead is do it 2 or 3 chapters at a time, and then maybe eventually, once I'm done with the entire book, I'm gonna release an entire collection of them as one video. So I'll see you guys next time. We're gonna start back on chapter 3, Darkstalker, and have a nice one. Happy holidays to all those who celebrate. Lighthope out.